In the survival show today, we're taking a look at the Spirits of Amazonia Part 3 and the map size, how big you're going to actually explore, and a few more details. And then of course also another little look at Forever Skies. Gameplay's coming next week. We're going to be seeing this trailer footage of it, and they've got an interview today with the developers that I'm going to paraphrase and go through. And one that's been catching fire on Twitter, a game called Rooted, supposedly kind of influenced by The Last of Us, made in Unreal Engine 5, which is pretty rare in terms of survival or many games going. I'm going to give you the lowdown. It's the survival show, 3 games, 3 bits of news, let's go. So yeah, kicking off with that Rooted, it is kind of giving you the vibe of Last of Us, I guess. Overgrown city landscape, moss, loads of ferns, grass everywhere, not a single person in sight, or maybe even based on that Will Smith zombie film, that bad one, I can't remember what it was called. But anyhow, you get the idea. I'm down for this for sure, absolutely. It's only small little slices we're seeing. I have got a Steam page and I've got a Twitter account which we'll go over as well. It is promising to be a single player, maybe co-op game as well. And yeah, people on Twitter, well, i.e. some of my rat bags that let me know about it, they seem to be very excited about this one. So could it be having the potential? If it's built in Unreal Engine 5, that will be a first. Not many games are actually out or have converted up to that. Games like Ark and Conan, made with Unreal Engine, they're still stuck on number 4. So yeah, it's a real first if they can get this out in Unreal 5. I've got a Twitter page up, again, not much going on with that. And they do have a website which is pretty much just a sticky page to some of their other social medias. But what can we learn? Well, we know that apparently this is going to be a 20-year after a bacteriological war that decimated the world's population. You will be able to play it alone or co-op. You'll also be able to train animals that will become real allies, and you can give them missions to ensure your safety or to hunt. The typical crafting and custom camping. So it looks like we'll be able to build a shelter, rely on electrical and hydraulic networks, and improve the quality during our expeditions. And yeah, seems to be a big focus about taking awareness of the animals and creatures, analysing the environment, animals, plants. We'll be keeping track and note of a lot of this stuff. The Steam videos aren't much better in terms of compression, but yeah, it does look pretty good, I have got to admit. But this is, I would say, still a little too early to get overly hyped. Let's wait and see if we see some actual gameplay trailers. Let's hear their plans for when they're going to release. A few videos that I covered last year of some survival games, while I'm rooting for them, I know they're not going to actually be out until next year, so I don't want to go too mad on them, particularly when they're coming. But I know you guys love seeing new stuff, so I thought at least I would show it, give you a heads up on my opinion on it. Got to say, I've never been a big fan of The Last of Us. I tried playing the first one and I just got bored of it. I'm not a big fan of that kind of combat or that situation, and I didn't even bother touching the second one. I am an open world survival junkie, and this game may be made by small developers, but if they're promoting themselves as something similar to The Last of Us, or that's what everyone else has assumed, then they may have to really lean into that, and I just kind of hope they stick to the survival principles rather than try and do just another zombie story. Please, no zombies, no mushroom dudes, just make it a whole bunch of bandits or something surviving. So over a week ago, Creepy Jar announced their Spirits of Amazonia Part 3. This is free content that they've been working on for the last maybe 18 months now, or maybe a year and a bit, and obviously PC has experienced a lot of this. Console players, you obviously got Green Hell only just last year, and it did do okay, I guess, well enough that it's going to be receiving this content eventually. It does look like they're going to be putting it all together, Spirits of Amazonia 1, 2 and 3, all as one update for Xbox and PlayStation. Whereas PC players, you're going to be able to experience this in just next week. So that's old news. What have we got for today? Well, they actually revealed the size of the map. This is the new area that you're going to be able to explore. When you combine that with already what we've got in the game, that adds up to a pretty huge space, especially considering it's such dense jungle, at times with caverns as well as quite cliffy terrain sometimes. That offers a lot of gameplay to go and discover. If you don't know, we're going to be encountering Habuku, an Amazonian fishing tribe, and it is going to conclude the story of Jake, the protagonist from obviously the whole game. They're also introducing something called the Ritual Trials. Basically 3 kind of trial arenas themed for each of the tribes that you've encountered, so I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of combat based style kind of mini game. 4 new legends, a brand new AI, the Centipede, 2 new activities, 2 new weapons, a new pottery mechanic and more. So I know it sucks, but it's good news for console fans that this is finally coming out. I do believe they haven't had the building update or the animal husbandry update just yet, so I'm presuming that will come in the next few months. So it's looking likely to see the Spirits of Amazonia 1, 2 and 3 hit consoles at some point during the summertime. I don't want to say too much more than that because there's been a bunch of times Green Hell have had to delay stuff. But yeah, that's what I would roughly guess. It will take them at least 3 or 4 months to maybe get the port job done. So probably late towards August, September. I love Green Hell. On PC, I rate it as one of the top 5 survival, pure survival games you can play. Hard as nails. On console, it's been okay. The Switch version I didn't like at all. I just felt like it was a horrible green mess. But Xbox and PlayStation wasn't too bad, if just a little bit finicky with some of the controls. So if you haven't picked it up or you see it on sale, absolutely give it a shot. So Forever Skies Subnautica in the Sky is going to be showing off actual proper gameplay next week. On the 24th of March, they're going to be part of the Future Games show, so we're going to be seeing actual full-length gameplay from them. But there's also a brand new interview with Level 80, a gaming website. I'll leave the link to this in the comment section, go and read it for yourself. They had a good old chat with some of the artists, the art lead and tech artists working on the game. So apparently there's now 20 developers made out of a whole bunch of people that worked on games like Chernobylitz, Dead Island, Dying Light, as well as Divinity Original Sin. You will be stepping into the role of a scientist returning to Earth long after a global ecological catastrophe has left the planet uninhabitable to humans. The airship is going to be your transport, your shelter, your workshop, everywhere where you'll be researching and crafting new items. All the while exploring the kind of abandoned Earth with obviously this toxic dust layer shrouding the kind of cities. It is going to be a first person survival game, so no third person at all. They are saying that a lot of the focus is going to be on them build mechanics. They've said they are releasing it this year and it will obviously go into early access, but it will only launch as a single player game before upgrading a few months later, hopefully to cooperative. Just like I said earlier, not a lot of developers are actually using Unreal Engine 5 just yet. This one is using Unreal Engine 4. The good news is they're hopefully developing it at the same time in tandem for console as well as PC. So yeah, they go on to speak about how the fact their native land where they make this game in Poland has had some bad reputation for some of its cities being in the top 10 filled with smog. Maybe just like LA in the 90s and noughties, I don't know if it's still a thing, that they had lots of warnings about the quality of the air. And that's what helped them really think about what if we can make a game like that. The world will be populated, but it won't be necessarily be populated by forgotten humans. There will be other survivors. So they speak a lot about giving the player a unique experience, immersing them in something different but still recognisable. The world will be introduced in stages, so it looks like you might not be able to go too far or explore too much until you've got certain upgrades or abilities. I'm guessing that's to do with upgrading your airship. Now this is pretty cool. Procedural generation is an approach to creating the variety of diverse assets that populate the world. I did think it was just a set world, maybe I missed this before. This does give it a bit more replayability. I'm guessing it's going to be maybe like a tile-based system. I could be wrong on this, but where maybe certain skyscrapers or landmarks or points of interest will spawn in every world, but they'll definitely do it in a different way. So no two playthroughs are going to be the same. But even deeper into that, they go on to list details that even within these points of interest or locations, layouts will be different too. You'll get different elements, different resources, and also the state of the buildings you'll be exploring. Some of them will be way too damaged that you might not be able to spend too long on. So it looks like, yeah, that's part of it, is recognizing what ones you can go and explore properly. They then show off the technology behind the decay of the buildings and how destructible they are and how different they'll look each time. I've got to say that's pretty cool. I love the look of this. So the main character is going to be a scientist and a planet explorer, not some G.I. Joe. It's not going to be a big focus on having AKs or space lasers that will do damage against creatures, but more about your tools you're using to hopefully gather resources. The tools will be attached to your suit by a universal interface, and there will be some weapons for defense and attack. But yeah, it doesn't look like you're going to be going gun-ho all the time. It does look like you're going to have to think about things a little bit more. So if you didn't know, the story basis as well was that you're researching maybe some cures or viruses to hopefully develop cures. And you might need to self-infect to utilise positive effects to get out of difficult situations. And I love that idea. That is definitely something unique you're just not seeing in other games. Yeah, sure, you can get buffs that will give you more damage output or extra armour and stuff. But something really unique that fits within the story to get past certain places or to be able to get new equipment or reach different areas. They then asked about the main pillars of the game, and it is exploration. They don't want it to be predictable, they want it to be a surprise, and that's what the procedural generation will allow. And then they talk about the 3 key parts: flying base in your airship, exploring the ruined elements of humankind, and then what's below, maybe much more hostile below that dust. They talk about the fact that the cities that are still there and thriving possibly, or how they try to, proto-cities, focused on very, very specific mechanics. So some of these might be to do with food, others might be to do with water or electricity. And I love the idea of that. Maybe it's getting low, maybe your stores are, so you know you need to go and scan and look for one of these kind of structures, and go and explore it and ramp up all your food stuff. Then talk on a lot about the colours and uniqueness of it, how it will change during day and night and get different hues. And talking about the world below, how it obviously will be filled with this mix of toxic warm greens, but will have accents of strong colour, basically warnings for maybe plants or creatures. And then yeah, we're going to see, I guess, the vertical slice that they finish off this interview with, the gameplay actual trailer for it, and then a few months more to reach. They'll talk and walk towards an early access release. So no actual definitive window. If I had to place a best guess, since they're showing some gameplay now, I would say it's still going to be a good few months, maybe September or October before we see this one. As always, I'll be the first to tell you of an actual release date, and I will be covering the footage on my survival show on Wednesday. And that's it, done and dusted. Give me some feedback. Is this working, the new format? Free games, free previews, free updates, whatever it is, just condensing it into free. And then sometimes you'll get individual little videos taking a look at an update for one game or a brand new game if I feel like there's enough there. So until next time, I'll catch you. The home of survival, JPG. Laters.